The night was heavy with snow. Outside the window, Boston lay quiet, the streets wrapped in a white stillness. Inside a dimly lit room, Sylvia Plath sat at her desk, a pen moving restlessly across the pages of her diary. The soft glow of a lamp carved shadows across her delicate face, half light, half darkness, as if her soul itself was split between the two. "I gave everything, yet I am still empty." She scribbled the words on the margin, her hand trembling for a moment before she let the ink sink into silence. Sylvia's story was not the story of an ordinary woman, it was a story forged in brilliance and brokenness, a story that could only have been born out of the American struggle, ambition, love, loss, and the desperate hunger for meaning. A childhood scarred. Sylvia was born in 1932 in Boston, Massachusetts. Her father, Otto Plath, was a German immigrant and a stern professor of biology, brilliant in his field, but cold in his presence. Her mother, Aurelia, was gentle, but crushed under the weight of responsibility. At just 8 years old, Sylvia's world shattered. Otto Plath died of complications from untreated diabetes. To a child, it was abandonment she could not forgive. The man who had taught her to build castles in the sand had left her drowning in loneliness. Why didn't he come back, she would ask silently, year after year. That wound never truly healed, it deepened, turning into both her poetry's heartbeat and her despair's curse. The hunger for perfection. As she grew, Sylvia's mind became her fiercest weapon. Words were not just sentences to her, they were fire and glass, cutting, burning, illuminating. At Smith College, she dazzled professors and classmates alike. Her poems shimmered with brilliance, her stories won awards, her essays carved truths too sharp for her age. But inside, perfection was a cage. Every achievement only heightened the fear of failure. She hid her terror behind smiles, performing the role of the Golden Girl while secretly unraveling. In 1953, the facade cracked. Sylvia attempted suicide, an act both shocking and foreshadowing. She swallowed sleeping pills and disappeared into darkness, only to be found and saved after days of searching. The newspapers covered it, the college whispered about it, and Sylvia herself transformed it into haunting fiction later. Love and Fire. Years later, at Cambridge University in England, Sylvia met Ted Hughes, a rising poet, tall, magnetic, and ferociously ambitious. Their attraction was instant, consuming, almost violent in intensity. Within months, they married, and together they became a literary force, writing with the kind of brilliance that set the air around them alight. At first, Sylvia believed she had found both a partner and a mirror. Their passion was fierce, but so were the storms. Hughes was unfaithful, his hunger too large to be contained by marriage. Sylvia, already fragile, felt her trust splinter into sharp edges. Their love, once a roaring fire, became a battlefield. The Bell Jar. In 1963, Sylvia published The Bell Jar, a semi-autobiographical novel that unveiled the suffocating pressures of being young, ambitious, and female in mid-century America. It was raw, unflinching, and deeply personal. She wrote of mental illness, of the crushing weight of expectations, of a woman struggling to breathe beneath the invisible glass dome of society. The book was a cry for help, wrapped in the elegance of fiction. Readers praised its honesty, but for Sylvia, it was more than literature, it was her life laid bare. The final winter. That winter in London was the coldest in years. Sylvia lived with her 2 children in a small flat, Ted gone, her heart torn between love and betrayal. The gas stove hissed in the kitchen, the snow fell endlessly outside, and inside, her depression deepened. Yet even in her darkest days, she wrote with a brilliance that stunned the world. Her poems from this time later collected in Ariel were blazing, ferocious, alive with death and rebirth. Each line felt like a confession carved into stone, fierce, beautiful, terrifying. But Sylvia was tired. The weight of abandonment, of motherhood, of art, of survival, it pressed down too heavily. On February 11, 1963, she sealed the kitchen door, placed her head in the oven, and let the gas consume her. Her children slept in the next room, untouched by her final storm. Aftermath and legacy. Sylvia Plath was only 30. The news of her death rippled across America and beyond, shocking friends, readers, and strangers alike. Some whispered judgment, others mourned the loss of a genius silenced too soon. But death did not end her story, it amplified it. Her poems were published posthumously, her voice gaining strength with every passing decade. Today, she is remembered not only as a tragic figure but as a revolutionary poet who tore open the silence around mental illness, womanhood, and the struggle to be both brilliant and broken. Closing scene. Imagine the snow still falling that night, covering the streets of Boston, of London, of every place her words have reached. Sylvia's life was not just one of sorrow, but of fierce creation. She transformed her wounds into art, her despair into words that still burn on the page. Her story is America's story too, the immigrant's child, the girl striving for perfection, the young woman suffocated by expectations, and the artist who refused to remain silent. Sylvia Plath died in winter, but her words remain like fire, unforgiving, unforgettable, eternal.